プレゼントが欲しいの？でも残念ね。あなたは悪い子だもの。
Hello everybody, Vigo Shadow here, and I'm back with another Should I Pull video. And this one is for a revival banner for the Holiday Rhapsody. Of course, there we have two characters on this banner here. One of them is Happy Holidays for Sherry, and Santa's Little Tease, Alexia. Now, I will be going over each one of these units to see if this banner is really kind of worth pulling, especially when we have Beatrix and Iris out too. So I will be comparing these two to the current selections that we have now for the event. The pull I had, it was just 3 multis, and I got insane luck off of that. I wish I would have had this on the main account. But essentially, I pulled this Sherry 3 times in 3 multis, which is absolutely insane. That kind of luck just doesn't exist. But anyway, let's get right into the fun part of the video here. The abilities. So we'll go over Parade Time here. It does recover HP of all allies by 200% of attack, like that. Kind of standardish heal stuff there for an ult. Raises the attack of blue elemental allies by 10% for 10 seconds. So the raising of attack is going to be a really good thing. I wish it was for a longer duration, but that you're basically going to want to time this heal. If you have this unit, you're going to want to heal them, and then you're going to want to let all of them do their ults after that, or their hidden technique. Then we have recover, or want a cookie. It is recover HP of a single ally with the lowest HP of 100% of the attack. This is a very standard heal. Not much to it. So, and this is only a single ally, so that's not the best kind of heal move that you'd want on a healer. You'd want something that heals more of the whole party. I mean, you already have that with the ultimate, but yeah, just a standard heal there. Wrapped in Happiness is another one. It raises defense of a single ally with the highest defense by 30%. Most likely, you're going to see this in the tank. And then for 10 seconds, further recovers HP by 20% of the attack. So it gives a small heal with also boosting the defense, which isn't really that bad of a skill. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, and it has to be blue elemental, so if you're not running blue tank, then it's gonna go to your next or no, it's still gonna go to the tank, whoever has the highest defense. So it better be blue. It better be like a blue tank or something like that for this to work and be beneficial. So this skill is kind of it's not the best, but it's still pretty good to raise the defense of that tank, so make him a little bit beefier. That's always nice. And then we have the Happy Holiday, which is at the start of the wave, raises healing boost of all blue elemental allies by 50%. Really big waste here, because essentially this is just standard. I mean, if we compare it with the regular unit here, one second. So we got the blue healer, Bright World. Literally does the same thing. It is 50% on that. And then with her heal, it's the same thing. So they both have identical heal for 2 moves. 2 moves are practically the same thing for both Happy Holiday Sherry and Bright World Beta. And Bright World Beta is just an A rank unit. And it ain't a bad healer either. And with this one, and the difference here is that the beta here does a 80% damage on a single enemy with the highest attack and lowers the attack of that enemy. So that's what it's doing. It's lowering the attack of the highest attacker, especially if it's a red elemental. And then the heal for this one is that it recovers HP of allies within 100 centimeters. So Sherry's got Bright World beat with that ultimate there, because it's 200% and it's for everybody. And then, of course, if you have that boost, it's going to heal him even further. But, yeah, so what Sherry does is she'll beef up the tank, which that's kind of what you want to do with the healers, instead of lowering the attack for something else. That's also good, but those two units itself is very similar, especially with the heal, because they have the identical heal and they have an identical last ability. So it's almost like pulling for Sherry specifically wouldn't really be a good pull, because of, like, you have literally two moves that are copy paste, and the only move that's different is this Wrapped in Happiness, which is just increases the defense of the tank, and then you're healing all allies and raising the attack. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, by 10%, and if it's awakened, it's 15. You know, and it's just standard stuff for awakened. I mean, it's literally the same thing awakened for Happy Holiday, and this Want a Cookie, same identical thing as Bright World Beta. You might as well be running Bright World Beta at this point, but if you happen to have Sherry, and if you happen to have Bright World, obviously Sherry is going to be the better pick for that. So she is better than Bright World, but by a little bit. So if you happen to get her, you just happen to get her. That's kind of how I see it. But, I mean, yeah. I definitely would not use my gems for this. This is kind of like, if these two moves were way more different, then it would probably make it a little bit more beneficial, but it's literally two copy-paste moves from an A rank unit that we have, so it's definitely not worth it going for her. But anyway, let's get on to the next one, Alexia. Alright, on to the next part of the video. We have Alexia Midgar, Santa's Little Tease. Alright, so this one's a blue attacking unit instead of the heal, but right away we're going to dip into her abilities right off the bat. So we have Enchanted Starry Night, and what that does is it lowers the defense of a single enemy by 10% for 7 seconds. I already like that. It is just one enemy, but still, 10% is pretty good, on top of inflicting 1,500% damage. And that's a decent amount of damage to do, especially like for some. It's like, I'd say it's kind of like regular. I've seen lower. I'd say maybe this is like a standard damage, but when it's awakened, we could see an increase like 3 more seconds for the defense, and it does 1,900% damage, which is even better. This is what you're going to want to see on the roadmap for sure. But then we go into some of her other attacking some of her other attacking abilities, and this is just for you. It inflicts 70% damage on all enemies. A small amount of damage, but it is on everybody. And then it further lowers the defense by 10% for 10 seconds. Now, this is lowering defense on all of them. That's pretty good. It is a good skill for that. Low amount of damage, but it decreases everybody's defense by 10%. So that's a pretty good skill. And then all we see is just a 3-second bump for when it's awakening, or when it's awakened. So that isn't too good as far as awaken goes. So it doesn't change the damage, doesn't change the percent, just the seconds. Then we have Become a Star, which is 150% damage on enemies within 100 centimeters of target enemy. And then this is a 50% damage bump for when it's awakened, so again, not too good there, but still a little bit more damage, always nice. And then for her last ability, we have, like Santa's Little Tease, raises damage inflicted for all blue elemental allies by 15% until surviving allies fall below 5. Usually you're not going to have your team fall apart, so that 15% is always usually going to be there, because like if anything, your tank takes the brunt of it. But if somebody dies in the party, like maybe you're mid row and something's getting attacked there, like you got to have a pretty strong party for this to even work pretty well. And 15% is pretty, I'd say it's pretty average. It could be like a higher percentage. I know when I was looking at Iris, she is doing 25% to all red elemental allies. But yeah, the requirement for Iris is that you had to have 4 or more red elementals. So you don't really need, you know, a lot of, you can mix your party up with having it, with still having the boost go to the blue elemental allies. But as soon as one of your party members dies, doesn't matter who, you lose that 15%. And this is bumped up just by 20, right up to 20, so a little 5%. So all these awakened abilities are just very small boosts with nothing additional there. So, I mean, the awakening for this character is pretty mid-tier, I guess. It's not too, we could see, I wish we would see better results for the awakened abilities. The best one that is awakened is this Enchanted Starry Night, and which gives you 400% more damage for 3 more seconds of lower defense. So she's not a bad blue attacking unit, but I believe there are better options for certain blue characters. Now let's just go ahead and take a look here. Obviously, this Sid Kagano is really good with its damage, because we got 500 there, 300 there, and this is just 1,000, so she does better on that front. But this one's also part of it, so at the start of the wave, it raises damage inflicted for all allies. It doesn't even matter if it's blue or not. So that makes him a pretty good unit otherwise. So he's always a keeper in like kind of like the blue teams, especially with his new SS Plus gear, so that's awesome. This one's not too bad. She does like 300 there, raises own attack by 30%. That's even way more than what the bonus that they're going to give you, like 15%. And then raises damage for 35, damage inflicted by 35% for 30 seconds, but that's halfway through the round. But still, this one does the same thing if we look at it. So, like, this is a perfect example, but minus, like, 500% more damage. So this one lowers defense of a single enemy by 10% for 10 seconds, further inflicts 1,000% damage. So there's some slight differences with that ult compared to Santa's Little Tease ult. So, I mean, this is a good substitute for that character. Obviously, Santa's Little Tease is going to outperform Ida. But with Ida, you're actually able to raise your own attack and raise the damage inflicted with those two. So, I mean, it's a better buff that she gives off than what Alexia would give off. Beatrix is another good one. We got Delta as well, who does 1,600 on a single. 300. I mean, we have, like, the attackers that are out there. Like, they're able to raise their own attack. And then this one, too. Small Predator's really, really good. Start of the wave raises damage inflicted by 35%. So I guess if you wanted to stack, like, the damage inflicted for Alexia, you can. But this boost is very small in comparison to the ones that we've seen, like 35 off the Small Predator Delta. At that point, you might as well just be running these other blue attackers compared to what she can do. You know, this one's raises attack of allies 100 centimeters of self. That's a 3-hit combo. Raises attack again. And then damage received recover SP. So, I mean, we have some better choices here for the blue attackers. So, I mean, all in all, it's not the worst blue unit that you can get, but the boost is not as good. And, I mean, the biggest thing it does is, like, it can lower defense of all enemies. But you have others just raising their attack so far up there. Like that Small Predator Delta, like that. This one's just a really good blue unit to have that just completely outperforms Alexia. We'll go over Alexia's base stats here. So I always like to do this. For every character, we got power to healing boost right here. And then we go from healing boost to overheal, nothing special there. And then the grouping. And then in her awakening roadmap, we have at her A1, the Santa's Little Tease. The damage inflicted for all blue elemental allies by 20% until surviving allies fall below 5. Now it's just better to have the damage inflicted, so it's not bad at the A1 there. Obviously her ultimate would be better. Yeah, sorry, I had to take a peek. A5 is when she gets that, so that's just a really long grind to get something like that. And then there's Just For You, which is the increased by only 3 seconds, so I mean that's kind of eh. The Magic Gear slot at A3 is obviously really, really good. Always much appreciated when the Magic Gear slot gets, you get it earlier on the roadmap. That's always a good thing. Then we have Become a Star at the A4 with 200% damage on enemies inflicted with 100 centimeters of the target enemy. Which is just 100%. I believe it was just 100% damage, which is eh. But yeah, the A5 is really where it's at, or A3 for the Magic Gear slot for Alexia. Otherwise, just having your A1 with that ability there is also good in itself. Even though it's just a 5% increase, still okay. Magic Gear slot at A3 would probably be the best thing for the Alexia on that Awakening roadmap. And yeah. The question is, should I pull for this banner? Now, if we compare... well, looks like I got an under maintenance thing. So, as I'm going to wrap it up here, should I pull for Alexia and the Chariot Revival Banner, the Holiday Rhapsody Banner? I would tell you probably not. I would not go for it because if we compare the two, Alexia is going to be a lot better with that damage, and Happy Holiday Sherry is just way too similar to Bright World Beta. So it's not a really good option. And there's a lot of risk involved, especially if you just want to go for that Alexia. I just wish that the boost that they would give you on Alexia's like damage inflicted was on like pretty much on par with what Small Predator Delta could do. But if we're looking at all 4 of these holiday event characters, it may sound like I'm biased here, but it's starting to sound like Iris is probably the better pick of all 4 of them. With, let's see here. With Beatrix being an okay option, because the only reason why I say Beatrix being an okay option is because obviously the aesthetics and the costumes all look great. It's just, there's better tanks out there for Beatrix, or instead of Beatrix. Like, the biggest thing she's got is that shield that she could put on herself, and I think that is the first, red tank to have that type of a shield. I know other tanks can create a shield on themselves, but I mean it is still a beefy tank nonetheless. I just think it's just wasted opportunity to put that knockdown ability or knockback ability on Beatrix. It's just very kind of unique. But yeah, the Iris banner is something I would pull for if you're looking for a Christmas event character that's a pretty good red attacking unit. Now, in order to make that red attacking unit beneficial, you've got to have at least 4 red elements in your party to do so. But with the boost that Iris gives, you have like some pretty good potential, especially if you can pair it with, of course, the other Iris, Innate Sword, where she's already raising her damage. And to raise it even further with that other Iris is going to be tremendous. Pair that with Calamity Witch. If you have that, you're going to cause like a lot of bleed damage and more damage on top of that. Pair that with the Rose 666 tank. That means you're going to have the crit attack up. So imagine being, or like having that Innate Sword Iris in your party, while also receiving that boost you get from Holiday or Bashful Santa Iris, and then doing a crit on top of that. That's just a lot of damage waiting to happen. So, I mean, I can see some potential with the Bashful Santa Iris, and that'd probably be the event banner that I personally would go for, without sounding biased. But of course, if you want to get these other characters, especially if you really like them, I already put my 2 cents in for what you want to go. I would try to stray away from that Holiday Rhapsody Revival banner, as enticing as it seems. We just have like way better options. Like pulling Beatrix would be better than pulling off that Holiday Rhapsody banner. So try to avoid this one unless you really, really want that character. And if you're looking specifically for the character on that banner, do realize that it's a risk between getting Sherry or getting Alexia, whatever one you're trying to go for, that you might get the other. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Vigo, signing off.